overviews and reviews. Back in here with one more video. Joined today by a very special new guest. Evelyn.
Love to be here.
One thing that we talked about was being scared of the of what marriage is. Mm-hmm. And I responded with that, no, it's not about the marriage, it's about the divorce. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the statistics, when you look at a 50% divorce rate, I say it like this. If you were to go to a skydiving endeavor, mm-hmm. and before you got in, it said up on the front billboard that 50% of the people that come in here never leave. Mm-hmm. Would you walk in there and not be scared?
Yeah, but I don't know if I like that analogy.
Why?
Because I think people stop taking responsibility for what happens in their relationships and they put it on marriage. Like, marriage doesn't fail your relationship. Marriage doesn't make your relationship better. People fail in relationships and people make relationships better. Okay. So the reason you don't like that analogy is because it puts it on the marriage. Now, if the analogy was, okay, like say I was gonna marry you, right? Uh-huh. And previously all of your relationships have like failed, or every girl that you talked to before was like, yeah, I mean, you could or you couldn't. Like, it's 50-50. Then I'm going to enter with caution based on the people who have experienced you on that level. Yeah. But I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to have relationships, period, because the people that you've talked to in the past are like, 50-50. So, but here's the thing. Irrespective of people knowing what you just said and putting it in their toolkit, the results are still 50-50. The results are still 50%. So it means to me that what you just mentioned is a one portion of a incredibly large equation towards successful marriage. So I say that to say, in that either one equation, like, you can walk into that skydiving facility and say, oh, I got my own parachute though. You know what I'm saying? I came prepared. I got my own parachute though. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, people who come with their own parachute still gonna have a 50-50 chance of getting out of that shit alive. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's you're good. There's also 50% of people that survive. So that's kind of like the glass half full, half empty kind of thing. Now, one is literally death. Okay, so let's look at the stakes. Are higher. The stakes are higher. However, let's look at the stakes. However, but we also can't. But we also can't glance over the amount of men that end up committing suicide after a marriage due to a horrendous divorce, alimony, and child support. And that is sad. And these are the stakes. And that is sad to hear that, but that's not 50% of men. It's not the 50%. Yeah. So again, that's why I don't like, because the stakes are different. Like, we have to, like, the stakes matter, so we have to talk about the differences. But again, I know that marriages aren't what fail people. People fail each other. Mm. And that's what, so like, even if like your marriage shit, right? That could still end. Your relation, your long-term, your lifetime partnership, that could still end. Right now, to your point, yes, it's a lot better if it ends and we are not legally tied to each other, so I don't have those things. So for example, like, I'm a trainer, right? So if I offer a program and I'm like, here, you can have a lifetime membership. I know I'm getting that income for the rest of my life. That makes me feel better. They know that they're getting trained and physically fit for the rest of their life, mm-hmm. right? But I could also get a person that's like, oh, I want to do month to month, right? So for me, it's like, I don't know if that person is going to be around, but I've also had clients that are like, I just want the option I'm going to be around because I see the benefits, so I'm still going to be here. But I know that if I leave, like, there's like, I'm not obligated to do anything else. So I think it's like a mindset. I think people really like play themselves and like create this narrative in their mind that it's like all doom and gloom, when like the actual content of your relationship doesn't change when you become married, besides the legal like tying. So if you want a lifetime partnership or a marriage ship instead, mm-hmm. do that. Like, if it's literally the fear of what will happen if this dissolves, if that's what it is for you, then obviously you'll have to be with a person that also shares that same idea, that same sentiment, and then you guys will be fine. Because a lot of y'all, the real tea is, a lot of y'all are acting married and are married to people, and you're not even married, like women. Men.
Well, I think the majority of those people understand that they're really not gaining any benefits in signing in front of the government.
I mean, you don't need marriage. I don't need to be married. I can still have the same relationship with my husband or my partner, whatever I would call him. We would still be doing the same exact thing, even if we weren't married. I think people need to stop putting so much unless you're a religious person, because then that's different. Don't put so much importance on marriage. That's like the paper itself, right? So say like you went through school and they were like, yeah, you have the knowledge, but you don't get the degree. Some people really would be upset like they didn't the degree. Like, I need the degree. People need to see this paper. Some people are obsessive with marriage like that. And that's why you're not happy, because you got the paper and what? Your relationship is still the same.
Still trash.
So you need to be cool with like the content of what you're getting and understand like if that's what the person you wants. Like, don't force people into anything that they don't want. Be okay with somebody not wanting that. And that's okay, because a lot of us don't realize like you can like somebody and really vibe with somebody and that person not be a good partner for you, or you just don't align on certain things. And I'm not gonna blame like marriage for that, because sometimes when people look back at why they get divorced, they're like, I knew that. I saw that.
The thing is when it comes to women, especially women, is that through the media and the news that we talked about earlier in life, the concept of marriage is put up as a societal goal. So some people are willing to ignore the red flags and the key indicators in order for the validation of what it means to be married.
And I completely agree. And that's how people, and this is how we get the 50% divorce rate. Yeah. Because you're focusing on hitting the goal, and you just did that for other people. You just did that because other people said this is something. To me, marriage is not a milestone. I don't think it is. Like, it's not. Like, I think it's great that you found somebody that you want to be with, because that is going to change, like, the not the quality of your life, but just like your life in general. And that's a beautiful thing, right? But I didn't get married and I was like, Evelyn is accomplished because she's married. Even now, I get so irritated sometimes because people will see my ring and they'll be like, oh my goodness, you're married. And I'm like, but I'm also a person. There's also other interesting things about me outside of being married. You know what I mean?
I think there's so many dudes that are scared about her wanting to do this for the wedding as opposed to the marriage.
Oh, now that's a bar, because I tell my friends that all the time. And one of the questions that you sent me earlier was like the initial excitement of marriage dwindling, right? And the reason that happens is because you're focusing on a singular event, which is the wedding. Like, the excitement is around other people acknowledging your upcoming union and you guys celebrating your upcoming union. But it is your duty as a partner to continuously celebrate the existence of your union and acknowledge that with each other and what excites that person. And that's what's going to keep it exciting. Like a wedding, that's like when everybody's like, it's my birthday month, and you all turn up. Like, nobody cares about you being born for the rest of the year. Like, you care about that. And it doesn't matter. And at least with a birthday, that comes around every year, since you're getting one wedding, right? So yes, people are going to be like, that was a nice party. But after that, you're left with your actual marriage and your relationship. Yeah. So you better stand on that. You better enjoy that. That better excite you, because that's what you get for a lifetime. Ideally.
I appreciate your message. And here's the thing is, as I think that your message comes from a place of wisdom, being 7 years married. Okay. So I really appreciate your message in a sense that it's, don't make it a milestone. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a end all be all. You are not necessarily defined by that, but then do it for the correct reasons.
Right.
I still think at the end of it, it's a great mindset. However, it's a whole culture to try to shift and to change that, and you have to combat against the media engine that is incentivized to pander.
And I agree.
And that is an uphill battle if I didn't ever heard one.
Yeah, but don't be discouraged by that. And I think a lot of people, because I understand that and I agree with that. And I feel like some people can be defeated by that. You get discouraged and you're like, ugh, like, I don't want to have to deal with that anyway. Like, it's not even about this. It's not, like, we don't even have to do that. And then, but again, that's going to offend somebody who's not aligned. But I think be okay with you defining what that looks like for you, right? Be okay. And that's why I was okay with my marriage, because I didn't take it as it has to look like this and it has to be like this. It's like, baby, what do you want? How do you feel about this? Do we still love each other at the end of the day, even though that's not technically what people say marriage should look like or marriage should be like or what the dynamic should be? Yeah. So that's wild that I would discount or discredit my love for you because somebody else said it can't exist in this package. Now, if you have had that conversation with your partner and you're like, it literally can't exist in marriage, then don't do it. Don't do it. So.
Don't do it.
No, is that what we're gonna end?
Don't do it.
It's like implying that it's trash. Once you
No, it's implying that it will change.
It'll change.
It's not applying trash. It's applying change.
But the fact that it's also with as the excitement of marriage declines, it's also implying that the excitement of marriage declines.
Can we not assume that it does?
If we want to argue for general people, sure.
Even individual.
I don't feel like the excitement of my marriage has declined.
From the point that you got married to 7 years later, the excitement is the same, if not more.
Excitement about that person, yeah. But again, I'm not looking at marriage, right?
I've never heard that before, ever in the history of ever. Even like relationships that you get involved with, like generally, like they call it the honeymoon phase.
No, and I get that. But I don't get the honeymoon phase. If you have been in a relationship with somebody before and y'all got married, that's not a honeymoon phase. That's like going on vacation. You're like, oh, like we're on vacation and our spirits are up a little bit more because we're free of like normal responsibilities and we can dive into more. But for it to just be like, I'm married and now I'm miserable and I'm like, yo ass, like to me, I'm like, what happened, sis? Like, how does that happen? So
I'm with you, but there's generally a honeymoon phase in a relationship and then there's a honeymoon phase in a marriage, I would think. I don't know specifically. Some don't go through a honeymoon phase during the marriage, but definitely people generally go through that honeymoon phase.
You're talking about like infatuation?
Yeah, like that, lusting for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just I can't wait. They have to lock people together because they know people will be people. And generally, you don't want to be locked to the same person because you have options. Especially women. You guys got a lot of options.
Yeah, we have lots of options, but you shouldn't feel locked. Like, and
you're married. You should feel locked. Tell me more. Why would you not feel locked?
Like, to me, locked feels like captured. Like, I don't have space. Like, I'm sacrificing. Like,
well, you don't have space to fuck others.
If that's what you have decided in your marriage, like if that's not what I operate under in my marriage, then I don't have to have that.
Wait, you specifically or like?
No, but I'm saying like there are people
who, yes, yeah. I agree with you.
But like again, that's redefining what marriage looks like to you. But that's why to me sexual compatibility is important. Like you won't see me with anybody that I don't want you. Now you're gonna want to fuck other people.
Yes.
That's just the facts. like, to me, I don't think monogamy is natural, right?
Oh.
I don't think it's natural.
Okay, let's back up for a quick second. What you're saying is that marriage is what you make of it. And what you can make of it is your own rules of engagement. And the rule of engagement might be monogamy, but it also may not be monogamy.
Well, yeah, but it definitely can be polygamy, because I looked that up.
You said can or cannot?
It can't legally, because I looked that up.
Legally in the United States, it cannot. Oh, you looked it up?
I did.
Why you're married?
Yeah, I just looked it up recently.
So you've thought about
No, it doesn't. Oh, go ahead.
You've thought about the idea of polygamy or polygamous arrangements?
Yes, because people have them. And you know what literally brought it up, y'all? I was watching Tiger King, and so...
That's my I'm for Tiger King.
And I was like, how is he marrying both of these people? But I was like, I thought you couldn't do that. So that's what made me look up polygamy if it was literal. But there are people who still operate in those spaces without, like, you know, obviously legally being married.
Brother Polite, are you familiar with him?
Mm-mm.
He's like an influencer, like one of these money-making Afrocentric influencers.
Those tend to be the types.
Yeah, but he's super smart. But he's got multiple wives, but it's really just one wife, and then he has contracts with his other wives.
Yeah.
So it's like he figured it out, but you got to legally do it correctly within the United States, or it's not. You can't marry two people.
Right, but I mean, again, that might be the dynamic that works for you.
Right. So was it just research based off of Tiger King, or was it something that you wanted to research based off of pure curiosity and perhaps entrance into the dynamic?
No, not personal entrance into the dynamic.
Okay.
But again, it was literally from Tiger King, although I've known other people within just like, what do they call them? Like thruples or, you know, like in normal relationships.
Which I would be cool with. You know what I'm saying? Having two mammies? Two mothers?
What about if it's like two guys and a girl?
No.
Well, that's also a throuple too. So let's just like keep that 100 or all whatever your dynamic is. I think that's okay, because what you were speaking about is like we have these urges. What I'm saying is monogamy is not natural.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is interesting, because I would think that marriage is the antithesis of not wanting monogamy. But what you're saying is that you can get married, but within that contract, there has to be like a polygamy thought. If you get married and you assume that I'm getting married to you under the sanctity of God, right? Under the right. So if you do that, you're assuming one man, one woman.
Multiple wives. At some point.
Okay. So if your husband came to you and was like, listen, baby, I love you. However, I also have these needs that I would like to be satisfied by another young lady of your choosing.
I think that's different than polygamy. Like, to me, it's different to be like, oh, I want to have a threesome, or I want to be, you know, just have sex with another person, than it is to be like, this person is my wife too, and she is somebody that I'm giving myself to emotionally, maybe financially, and y'all gonna be kicking it. That's not for me, but that is for some people. And I'm saying, if that's gonna make you happier, there are people in the world that will also agree to that. Okay, so for you. When I'm saying monogamy isn't natural, I'm saying it's not natural for you to only want to have. Can I say sex?
You can say sex.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, if you don't, like, you're still going to have sexual desires for other people when you get married. Getting married doesn't mean like you now are invisible and you're like, I have no other sexual desires or wouldn't have, you know, sex with anybody else. It's just saying I'm making a choice that I'm going to do that exclusively with this person.
But you said it's not natural.
No, it's not natural. If it was natural, come on now. If it was natural. Yeah,
but no, so I agree with you, but in my mind, I have a bit of contradiction when I hear you explain that, because you have gone on the pathway of marriage, but you know that monogamy is not natural in your mind. So, but you still went down the pathway of marriage, which means to me, you'd be okay with if your significant other came to you and wanted to introduce the idea of polygamy.
No, because I'm talking about monogamy specifically in terms of like the act of sex, not an additional relationship.
Wife. Okay. Or a contract with said person.
Right.
Okay. So additional with just the viscous innards being plundered, no. But the addition of a wife-like status into the relationship.
The opposite. No, so.
Oh, the opposite.
Yeah. Like, for example, I'm not saying that's the dynamic of my relationship, but like, you know how cheating is like a big no-no for people? Like, they're like, that is the worst thing you can do. It's like, not necessarily to me.
Yeah, because like, I did a video on this recently, and I was like, you know, there's like cheating, and then there's like killing the other person's mother, right? Like, I felt like
These are the dynamics.
it's like, you know, there's like just a half step.
Not just a half step. So no, that's why sexual compatibility is so important. Like, I would not be with him if that wasn't like, this is what I want my end all be all to be. And the beauty of doing things within a partnership is that I get to learn your body more. I get to, you know, my body more. We get to explore more. We get to go on that path of like that intimacy and like delving into all that it can be. If you did your due diligence at the beginning and made sure that you were aligned. So I think these things need to be discussed. Drive, expectations, preferences, triggers, and traumas. When you want to break down sex with a partner, you got to make sure those things are being discussed and that they aligned before you decide to enter monogamy, which is unnatural. Monogamy physically, not emotionally, which is unnatural.
I get you, and I hear all those things, and I still go back to the idea that you understand that monogamy is unnatural in the animal kingdom.
Correct. Look at animals.
Yeah, they just do all types of shit. I watched a documentary the other day, and it was like these apes, and there was the king of the apes that was, you know, he just bangs like all of the like so the lady apes, and then this other dude came out of nowhere.
The other dude ape came out of nowhere
from like another tribe and just walks up to the lady and just starts banging right in front of him. And then the other ape is sitting over there like, ooh, ah, like he just watching it happen, huh?
Yeah, they have to.
And then they fought like right after that.
And then whoever wins, they
take over the.
Yeah, the lions are the same. I watched a documentary about them.
It's crazy. So like you see it happen in the animal kingdom, and the argument is to say that is that like we're like
low key happens.
And like this shit too. It does, but the ladies happen to be more covert than the lady ape that was out there in the middle of the animal kingdom getting her guts twisted by the alpha male that just came in out of nowhere.
I mean, if you find those kind of parties, you can't. But
yeah, there's parties like that exist. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, and so I think that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody, again, operating out of fear, like fear that he's going to do something with somebody else or she's going to do something with somebody else. Like, no, make sure everything he wants to do, you can do.
So as a theory, monogamy is unnatural, but in practice, monogamy needs to be natural.
I don't think it needs to be natural.
I'm talking about for you specifically. Like,
it doesn't need to be natural for me. I just have to do it.
Okay, I feel like I have
to choose to do it.
I feel like I'm missing a logical step here, right? Like I feel like I'm missing a block, right?
Okay.
In your monogamous marriage, if your husband came and said, "Now I want a polygamous situation," it sounds like initially we're hearing you describe polygamy. It sounds like you would be like, "Well, you know, monogamy is not natural." But as you talk about it, it sounds like you want it to be the norm. So that dynamic confuses me.
I don't want it to be the norm. I want it to be the dynamic in my relationship.
Okay.
And then we would have to have a conversation. Because if that was no longer the dynamic that he wanted, then we are on two different pages. don't even know what's on there. I'm like, oh, what is
And
it?
you just eat it anyway?
It's meat. I'm still alive. Like, we're still kicking. We're still kicking. It smells good. You know what I mean?
No, I feel I do the same thing.